a little bit nervous because I haven't been live for so long. Hey Sonia. So, I haven't done a live stream for ages. Well, I have in my private group, but not, hey Jess, not in, not public live stream. So, I was going to do one yesterday, but obviously was not ready for timing yet. So, I'm just going to let this come up here. Alright, I'm just going to share this and then... So, I'm curious how everyone's feeling because I haven't live streamed for like a week publicly because I have been processing like a mofo. Oh my god. Oh my god. Hey Tammy. Alright, I'm just sharing this and then I'll be present with you. Okay. And I'm pretty sure I'm... Okay, hang on a sec, let me concentrate. I'm like, I haven't done this for a week and I'm getting sidetracked. I think, oh, okay, that's the biggest thing that's been coming up. So like I put avoidance in the thing. Obviously I've been going through a lot myself, which I'll get into in a moment. But the whole like distractions thing is really big. And I guess I'm sharing from my own personal experience. And I wanted to hear what others had to say if they've been going through similar things. Because as we know, we are in the total solar eclipse energies and it sounds like something's in the water. Yeah, it's it's funny. Like, I'm just curious. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that, Jess, because I know some people have been feeling really good and I'm like, why am I feeling like shit? But I know that there's been a lot of stuff and I've had a lot of kind of stuff going on personally. Yeah, I'm safe. People are messaging me asking about the bushfire. The bushfire. There's a bushfire nearby, but the bushfire is away from me. I'm safe, even though it's close to me. It's further away to be worried about. And I'm kind of like on a bit of an island where I actually personally live, so yeah, I have to cross a canal to get to me. Okay, so I actually don't know where to start. Can someone ask me a question or something? I'm like, I don't know where to start. So I guess the main thing that I wanted to jump on and share about today's live stream is about blame, I guess. And we could blame all these sorts of, you know, feelings for anything outside of ourselves. So like the eclipse or, you know, any of that sort of stuff going on. Because whilst that's really big at the moment and the, you know, total solar eclipse is, astrologers have spoken about it for years leading up to this particular eclipse. And, you know, we've had landscape. So we're going from, what is it, the lunar eclipse to now the solar eclipse. So why are people acting funny? Yeah, stressed and on edge. You know, like there's a definite, I guess that's what I talk about too. There's a definite collective going on. And I guess I always talk about this. It feels like I talk about the same thing all the time. So like whatever you're feeling inside yourself and going on personally in your personal life is obviously stuff that's resonance that needs to shift out. So there will always be a collective thread happening. And then I also believe, and obviously tune into what feels right for you, that with this as well, there's there is like different I don't know what you call it, different levels or different realities. Like everything's happening at once, right? Even though there's past, present and future, there's also no past, present and future, right? And it's kind of like, because there's only right now, so that means everything is still happening at the same time. Like you might have heard of parallel lives or that sort of thing, right? Or when you have deja vu, it's like you've been here before. So it's all happening all the time, right? The other thing is around, you know, like the collective, like there's always going to be a thread of collective going on, and it's the same thing in persons and in relationships, in persons, in people. So in any sort of relationship that you have, if you get triggered, you're only going to be triggered because there's a resonance matching that, right? And that's the same with the collective stuff going on. So right now we're in third eye chakra month, with the light field yoga, and then on Monday, on the 21st, we're actually flicking into ear chakra month for the light field yoga, right? So we've come off third eye, and that's integrating right now, because the last week of the month is always integration, and then we've got ear chakras starting from next Monday, which is all about listening. It's about opening, it's about receiving, it's about, you know, if we think about, you know, when we tune into listening, it's very still, it's very quiet, it's very open. And if we're not open and receiving, then nothing can come in, right? If we think of, like, you know, our ears being a flower, or, you know, our chakras being a flower, and then, like, if they're closed, and this goes for any chakra ultimately, or energy, any energy center, when it, you know, if it's closed, nothing can come in, but when it's open, that's when everything can come in, and that's when we can receive on all sorts of levels, right? So in this, you know, space of, you know, third eye, you know, there's seeing different realities, seeing past, present, future as one, you know, seeing the bigger picture so that we can forgive things in the past, so that we're able to create a different future, so we're not recreating patterns. And it feels like with this total solar eclipse, like this lead up to it, because what are we now, Friday? So we're a couple of days away from it. So all this week has just been like if there is shit inside you that needs to come out energetically, emotionally, physically, you're going to be there. So it's like, you know, if you're physically sick as well, and I know there's a lot of people that are physically sick at the moment, you know, that's clearing out too. So it's almost like, you know, if you don't, it's a catch-22. If you don't catch it energetically, you know, and emotionally, and work through that, then you will get physically sick. Sometimes we get physically sick and then we figure it out and then it shifts, right? But because all physical symptoms are stemming from an emotional start, right? And I put the sacral chakra in there because when we work with the third eye, we're working with our sacral as well in light field yoga, right? So taking this hand posture and I'm putting it on my belly, right? Or just below my belly is the sacral chakra, because the third eye and the sacral are one in from the top and the bottom, and when we're not seeing clearly, we're not able to nourish ourselves clearly, right? And like this is where we're nourished, you know, it's our womb. So even if you're a male, you've got an energetic womb, because that's where your life purpose gestates, right? And then we give birth at the base chakra, at the, you know, like physically come down. Is there anyone watching my live stream who hasn't seen me before? If there's any newbies here, please let me know. Or give me some love hearts or something like that if you're new to my live stream. Because the thing is, like, and why I put physical pain, stomach and digestive issues with the sacral chakra. Oh, that is, okay, cool. I had to ask that, I must have known. So like if you haven't watched my stuff before, I work with the chakras and starting from the top coming down, because there's so much of society, you know, running around with their head cut off, because, you know, if we're trying to come up, like, we open up to spirit, we let that in, it allows us to help change our brain neural pathways, drop into the third eye, being able to see the truth with a higher spiritual perspective, a higher wisdom, like allowing that wisdom to come in, seeing the truth, being able to hear what's going on, being open and receptive, and then our ears, heart and base chakra are interconnected. Because if we're not open here, we're going to be closed in our heart, we're going to be closed here. So when I talk about coming down, it's like bringing that wisdom and knowledge down through each chakra rather than coming up and trying to reach up to spirit and up there, because we're not up there anymore, you know, like spirit and the whole spiritual consciousness has shifted. And, you know, and even with what I teach, it's like, take what resonates with you, because this might not resonate with you either. And it's about, you know, finding what resonates for you in your life and your truth, because that's the ultimate truth. Because anyone ever says first comes from their mind, and depending on how clear their mind, body, energy and connection to their intuition, to spirit, to energy, to the universe, to whatever they call it, is, you know, kind of the resonance that they will obviously, you know, put out, or the level of consciousness that they will put out. And, you know, if something doesn't feel right to you or doesn't sound right, you know, like find what does sound right and listen to what your soul is guiding you to listen to. Because ultimately, that's about seeing the truth. That's about, you know, checking in with what's real for you and what nourishes you. Because when you try and take on somebody's truth, okay, so about to work on filming the throat chakra next week as well. And obviously, when we come down crown, third eye, ears, into throat, whenever we step into one chakra, the next chakra is activated. So on Monday, we're stepping into ear chakras. Just so happened to book in filming for throat chakra next week because last time it didn't happen. For various reasons, and it's like, okay, timing, trusting timing. So when we're dropping here, this is being activated. So it's like, are we able to take the knowledge, what we're seeing and what we're hearing in that reality, and actually being able to voice that? And when we're at the throat, it's not just voicing it, it's living the truth. Yeah. So when I talk about the stomach and digestive issues, it's like the main thing I wanted to say with that is that there's a lot of womb stuff going on. So a lot of sacral chakra healing going on because this is going on, yeah? And the other thing is that is when we actually kind of tap into the physical pain of what's going on, like, you know, some of the processes that I teach, and depending on where you're at, you might be able to do this yourself, depending on your skill level. With your meditation processes and practices and the tools that you know, you can actually go in there and take a walk in there with your higher self, spirit guide, or whatever, you know, comes to you, and check it out and see what's in there and do the healing around that, yeah? And obviously there's different steps you can do. If you want more information on that, please PM me, send me a private message. So, because for me personally, I've had huge stuff going on. And I feel nervous to share about it, but I feel like I need to. It's so weird. I don't want to share. I don't want to share that bit. I'm kind of feeling like I kind of need to, though. It kind of feels important. I don't know. Does anyone want me to share about what's been going on? Sounds a bit crazy. Like, I'm like, I don't want to share. Maybe because it's pretty personal. I don't know. Somebody let me know something. Oh, I just pulled a card for myself. I'm like, I don't know if I want to share. And I pulled the choice card, but it's actually come out upside down too. And I'm like, oh, I've got a choice around that, but I feel blocked around that. I do have a choice to share around that or not, don't I? Alright, so the message I'm getting about this is share the light side of it. That makes sense. And the snake's on there too. So the snake is, share it. The snake is lapis lazuli, which is third eye, and the snake is all about transformation. So I guess, trust my intuition, thanks Tammy. So yeah, I just did that then with the card choice. So I'm going to share the light side of it. So if you're in the Trust Your Intuition group, you're probably going to get a full rundown because that's where I share everything. So if you want the full inside goss, you're going to have to get into Trust Your Intuition. But basically, and I guess it is part of the process that I've done, which just shifted today, which is about going into the physical body and seeing what's there. And like in that, you know, like past life memories come up, you know, all the kind of information comes, and it's very third eye chakra at the moment, like, you know, being able to see into past lives, have those realizations and be able to, I guess, shift and clear it so those patterns don't keep recreating, right? Because that's what happens when we're, you know, if our third eye is closed, we'll be looking tunnel vision at this, you know, what we're in. It's hard to see out when we're in it as well. That's when support comes in to kind of pull out the bits for you, or pull you out so you can see clearly. And then when we're able to, you know, have our third eye open, we can see past, present and future at the same time. So it's not, you know, like people think if you're a psychic or a clairvoyant, you just tell the future, and I fucking hate that. It's like, you know, yes, when we tap into our intuition, we may get premonitions. You know, if we do a reading, we can see our future, but that's the thing, it's a future, it's not the future, because nothing is set in stone, nothing at all. And when we can really tap into the power of that and own that, we have the power to create whatever we want in the future. But if we're still focusing on what's going on in the past, or we're dragging that into the now, then that's what's going to keep happening. But if we can open our vision, see what happened, why, and then take out that, and then we can kind of put the pieces together for now, and then we can go, oh, well, I don't want to do that. I want to change, and I want to do something else, but nothing will change. the future, unless you choose something in the now that's different, like change your now, right? And when you do that, it's like, it can be tricky, hard, takes practice, takes discipline, takes willingness. And the thing with a lot of people going crazy at the moment, or just feeling so dark and like, you know, so much stuff around, is a couple of things. That yes, there's the total solar eclipse portal, and it, like, the veils are very thin at the moment, so there's a lot of crossing over, not only just different, like, into the spirit world, that's for people who've passed over, but also into different realms, realities, like it's like all the portals are fucking open, right? And that leads for not only light but for dark, yeah? So wherever we're kind of resonating, like, you know, and the message that I'm getting is that, okay, that's the message I'm getting now. So the light that's being embodied as we are consciously and, you know, collectively shifting into the next kind of vibrational dimension, or whatever, whether it's us physically or our planet is moving and in our solar system, and the solar system's moving in the universe to a different fucking place of alignment, who fucking really knows, right? But ultimately we're shifting to a higher level vibration and frequency, yeah? And in that, if, you know, when you are, you know, as a light worker, healer, someone who helps other people in whatever profession you are, yoga teacher, I don't know, energy healer, or you just teach people, or you're an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurs are leaders, you know, if you're in that game, then you will be feeling these effects. And the people who feel them the most are the people who have, watching my words here, the most amount of darkness to shift within them, right? And it sounds kind of bad, right? Hang with me here. So it's kind of like when we are shifting collectively to another vibration or another level or another dimension, whatever that fucking is, the amount of light that can house in our physical body in this reality that we're living right now, and then, you know, we're shifting into that, but it's not that we're like moving, like maybe we are, but it's actually happening within the cells of our being and our body, right? And it's like when we can realize that if we kind of if we're feeling the effects of it, there's just a resonance in your physical body that needs to shift out so that the light can house in there. It's almost like, I don't know what the word is. It's the kind of visual that I'm getting, or the analogy I'm getting is like, I don't even know if this is possible, but say like, well, not really, because you're kind of going to change it, but imagine, okay, alright, so this is a better analogy, thanks, because I was like, that doesn't make sense, so I just got to give it another analogy. So if you have like a bucket, or imagine you have a clear, I don't know, cup of mud, and there's like fresh water wanting to come into it, right? Like that mud getting stirred up is going to like get stirred up, you know, and it might be quite hard, it might be quite dry and hard, and it's kind of like got to soften and then clear, and then it'll be all swirly, and then it'll be like, and it'll be overflowing at the same time because it's coming out, and then eventually, you know, with the water coming in long enough, it'll eventually run clear, right? And then it'll be clear water in there, yeah? So you can imagine that, like the light in your body, that the light holds a certain vibration, and if there's any darkness in your physical body that doesn't match that new vibration, well then that's going to be shifted out, yeah? It's like we have no choice in the evolution of consciousness. It's fucking happening whether you're on the boat or not, right? Human consciousness evolution, whatever you want to call it, is happening regardless. So, you know, when we're shifting into this, and it's like this light will come in to clear out shit, yeah? I don't know if that makes sense or not. Because in that, it can be so painful, you know? We want to hold on to things, or we don't believe that we're worthy enough to have the good things or the light, or, you know, to be happy, right? And I think that whatever it is coming up for you personally is you're being shown, you know, where you're holding on to the most, yeah? I don't know, does that make sense for anyone? Can anyone tell me? Because it just feels like that's been so big in itself. I didn't not, yeah, thanks, Tammy. I didn't not I didn't intentionally not want to do or not plan to do live streams this week. It just kind of happened. I know after like going to New Zealand and then all of that too, it's been a massive week. I've had big processes, huge clearing out this week. So the other thing, and that's kind of the other thing I wanted to point out too, is, you know, like in the truth of the third eye is kind of where it stems from too. It's like, are you blaming things outside of yourself for what's going on? And whilst, you know, like when we're in it, it can feel very real and that's what's really going on. But it's definitely around, you know, like even when it feels so real like that it is the outside sources and it's the fucking eclipse and it's this and it's that and it's this and it's that. Can you, like, I guess, trust yourself enough that you've got the tools, resources, knowledge, light within you to actually shift and hold that yourself? Because when you step into a service role as a teacher, healer, whatever you are, leader of some shape, form, you have the capacity to shift stuff within you. And it takes a certain amount of courage to not blame outside circumstances and go, well, hang on a sec. Sometimes we need to get pulled up on that. Sometimes we don't even realize we're doing it. And that's, you know, basically at its core, darkness. So even when you feel like you don't want to be on the planet anymore, that darkness is energy. And that darkness can always be turned to light. Hey, Cass. Because I know that a lot of people have been feeling so dark. Like, so dark. There's been a lot of, like, depression sweeping and everything like that. And the other thing about that, too, is, I don't know, I think I said a little while ago, I don't know if I said it at Crown Chakra or at the end of Crown Chakra and coming into Third Eye Chakra, that there's a wave that's just happened, like a wave of awakening, like a couple months ago. And there's like a wave that's just awakened, so we're kind of coming into that. And the message I just got then saying that is that the next wave is following that. So that depression is like, you know, kind of sweeping, because depression, all depression is a closed crown chakra and the light can't get into the body. So if you've been feeling that way, consciously open your crown and let the light in to come into your body and all the way down and ground that stuff, yeah? So really working, you know, in yourself around, you know, even with physical pain, you know, just kind of taking a journey there. Like I said, if you need help with that, please personal message me. And, you know, like everything can be healed and resolved within you, even when it doesn't feel like it. Even when it feels like it's outside of yourself and you don't want to look at it or anything like that, it can. So if you're struggling with that, and you kind of really struggle with taking responsibility for everything that's going on, and you're wondering how on earth it can be your fault or your responsible, like how can you be responsible for that when they're doing that to you or they're causing you that or whatever like that, please send me a message, because I can help you explain a little bit about that. And if you need help to go, well, how can that be my fault? Then we can dig a little deeper there. So there's only several days left for the end of August. So at the moment for August, I'm celebrating 1 year of being online, especially with the Tuesday Tarot. If you follow me, it's the free tarot every Tuesday. So if you want a personal tarot reading for me, in celebration of that, I've got heaps to do still, and I'm catching up, and I've done a lot of readings this month. It's fucking amazing. So if you're waiting for your tarot reading, it is coming. I have seen them come through. So the half price tarot reading, it's one of the big dailies. Like I use like up to 5 card decks, and I audio record it and email it to you. So that is only for the month of August though. So there's only a few days left if you want to get in for that half price tarot to celebrate the month of August. And me being online and serving you for 1 year is a pretty big fucking achievement. So the other thing coming up, for sure, Tammy, the other thing coming up is calling in your soulmate. So we're, the doors are open for that as well right now. And that's also why we're in third eye and the sacral's being activated, because not only are we seeing the truth, and yes, this is being activated at the same time, I'm taking the first round of calling in your soulmate in. So we're really working deep in the sacral chakra. So if you really like want to obviously call in your soulmate or your life partner, or you want to deepen your current relationship, or you're not sure why your relationship is like it is, or you want to just take it to the next level, calling in your soulmate is open, and we start on the 21st of September. So I'll post a link in the comments for that as well. Now with calling in your soulmate, everyone thinks it's about them and calling in your soulmate, and whilst we do a tiny bit of that, majority of the work is working within. And if you're ready to go deep, because this is not for everybody, if you're ready to go deep and actually do the work, well then yes, stuff will shift in your life, and you will get to the next level, and you will be able to clear out all that darkness, heaviness, and all that stuff that's sitting in your sacral, so you can manifest what you really want. Because like I said, at the sacral chakra, it is where we nourish ourselves. It's your womb, whether you're male or female. It's got that, you know, holding space there for whatever you want to manifest in your life. And if it's full of stuff and full of shit and you're not seeing it clearly, well then of course you're going to be, you know, manifesting the same things. But with it, you know, calling in your soulmate is like, it's sacred manifestation, and that's about manifesting whatever you want in your life, because ultimately there's the inflow and the outflow through every single chakra and every single energetic sense in your body. And when we look at, you know, the masculine is the outflow and the feminine is the inflow of each chakra. When we're working on the sacral in particular, obviously we're working on healing the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Now in the module 5, which starts next week, with the current group that I'm taking through, we're bringing, it's called Sacred 88, so we're bringing the masculine and feminine together. So in your sacral chakra, we're doing that, but also when we reach module 5 in the sacral chakra, we're doing that within each of our chakras. Because if we can't see clearly here, well then there's a block on the outflow or the block on the inflow, right? So we're really working at shifting this all through our bodies. So that's helping to have like all energy flows open, yeah? Because if not, well then if there's one blockage somewhere, well then there's going to be blockages other way. Because it's like when your, you know, car filter blocks up or something, then everything else blocks up, you know, or however it works. I don't know quite how it works. So I'll post the link in the comments for that too. So I'll just pull a card for Tammy. Oh, I pulled the same card for you, Tammy. A choice. I got this message about taking the choice on, like taking the choice about taking it on. And that's interesting too, because I know, like, obviously for me personally, but I know, like, I'm getting the message it's a choice about taking it on. And I think it comes from a sense of, like, you know, when we want to help somebody and they're not wanting to be helped, but we care for them, or we want to do more or something like that. It's like and almost that, like, we like feel at a conscious loss of how we can help them. That's when we'll be like, oh, well, I don't know, but, and then energetically we take it on for whatever reason, because we almost, like, as an empath or as a healer or whatever that is, it's like that's the way we kind of heal it, if that makes sense. But I think too that we wouldn't take it on as much if we didn't have resonance for it within us, yeah? I think that, yeah, there's something there around that about taking it on with resonance, yeah. And I think that you got that clarity too, you know, that you reflected into what that reflected in your own life. And I think that's the biggest thing, you know, if we do take someone's stuff on, well then it becomes our stuff. It's not because, you know, oh, they made me take on their stuff, like, you know, and I know you're not doing that, but it is that choice, and it feels like you've made a good choice around that. The 3 portals in that are jumping out at me too for you there. You see the 3 doorways. Which one will you choose? I wonder if that relates to the 3 levels of consciousness. Are there only 3 levels of consciousness? I've got to read that, see if there's a message in the book about that. That is jumping out at me for you. Okay. This first thing that jumped out. So be mindful of your past, how you were raised, and the environment that you were born into, as it will play a foundational role in influencing your ability to see and make new choices. Ask yourself, am I a slave to my upbringing? Have I been conditioned to believe and behave in particular manner? Well, I don't know how that relates to you. Does that relate to you? I know you just shared a bit before, but that is exactly what's been going on for me too. So I'm wondering on a collective level as well, because everything is a choice even when it doesn't feel like we have a choice. And I'm really getting the message there around that for as the collective, you know, like, am I a slave to my upbringing? So like the conditions from the past, and if you read my blog from Friday after I got off the plane and I watched that movie, Bitter Harvest, and it was about the slavery and the starvation, the Holodomor, totally relates. Okay, cool. And so the slavery and the Holodomor and the starvation, right, which is what that was, and it's because that am I a slave to my upbringing is just what kind of brought that back to mind. And it's almost like when we are brought up in a particular way, that's where we feel nourished, like in our womb. So like when we're trying to consciously change our situation and our mindset and our situation and our emotions and all that sort of shit, it's like because we were brought up in a certain way, that's where we feel nourished in our core, in our womb. You know, like when we go through womb healing in the Calling in Your Soulmate, it's like we work through actual womb meditation and heal the womb specifically, you know, when you're a baby and all this other jazz, because there's so much that's imprinted into us, not only when we're in the womb, but when we're first born, and then we come up, and you know, and that's how we feel nourished, because when the umbilical cord is cut for us, whether you're male or female, when you come out as a baby, that's your first point of nourishment, right? Like from your umbilical cord into your womb, into your stomach, yeah? So, you know, like when we are brought up in whatever way we're brought up, and it's not about blaming the way we're brought up, it's not what I'm talking about. It's about, you know, am I a slave to your upbringing? You might not have liked your upbringing, or it might have been a bit hard for you, or whatever the fuck, but it's not about blaming your situation and choices now on your upbringing. It's about going, oh, okay, well, the point I'm saying is that it can be really tricky, and that's why I said it takes discipline, practice, willingness, all the other things that I mentioned before, because it's so ingrained, not only in our brain, but how we're nourished. So what we're doing is we're changing the way that we actually feel nourished in relationship, not in relationship to certain things. And, you know, and that's kind of the basis for changing addictions, right? You know, and then addiction at its core is just a loss of connection, healthy connection, which is at the Sacral Chakra again. So it's about finding what nourishes you, and that can be cloudy, and that can be tricky to, not tricky, it takes practice, discipline and willingness to change a behavior, because it's so ingrained, because that's how we were nourished at our core, right? So it's about changing not only the neural pathways, about how you are, you know, what nourishes you. It's like, you know, when you grow up and move out of home or whatever like that, and you suddenly crave a certain food, you're like, oh, that's what mum used to cook, that's what dad used to cook, or whatever the fuck, right? Because it has that sense of connection, right? And it's like, again, that's the womb, the food, how you're nourished, what it felt like, what, you know, gave the neuro brainwave responses, like all that jazz, right? It's all there. So how have I been conditioned to believe and behave in a particular manner? Well, of course we have, because it's made you who you are now. Doesn't mean that you're stuck on that, but you can choose another way, but it's going to take discipline and practice to stay with it, yeah? And that's why healing at the deepest level through Calling in Your Soulmate, when we're working on the womb in such a deep way, and the whole of Calling in Your Soulmate is based on the Sacral Chakra. So if you've got real shit going on and real issues that you're really trying to like knock on the bud, like nip in the bud or whatever, then Calling in Your Soulmate is probably going to be calling you. So I'm just checking here. Oh yeah, so, and this might be, I'm hearing that this is the card for you, Tammy, but I'm really hearing the message that this is collective at the moment too with the solar eclipse. Does this conditioning enable and empower or limit and restrict? Are you holding on tight to hurts and bad memories? So this is the body memory stuff that I was talking about. If you've got physical pain going on, there's a body memory stuck in there, usually a bad memory that's being triggered right now. So if you've got, you know, pain and it's kind of been all good, and then it's like, then you've been working on it, like, you know, and it goes good, and then all of a sudden it's come back again. These bad memories are coming up because there's resonance for clearing, right? Stuff comes up, there's resonance for clearing. So the thing that I'm getting there, and bad memories that bind you to a past moment. So this is third eye checking in, what's going on, what happened then, why is this happening now, what do I need to change it, blah, 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 yeah? Okay, for some reason that came up. So that's for you, Tammy, and I'm hearing it totally relates, but it's also very in alignment with the collective. So that's Tammy's card. So Cassie, you'd like a card too? For sure. Okay. Okay, Cass. This is quite relevant too, and I know I'm doing readings for you personally at the moment, but these are very relevant to collective right now and what's been going on in the eclipse, right? So I've pulled the integrity card for you, right? You're very welcome, Tammy. Yeah, this is exactly what I did this morning. It's a wound healing process. That's what shifted it. I should have done it earlier, but you know, timing. Okay, so integrity, Cass. Thanks for that confirmation there, Tammy. Okay, Cass, so integrity. So the thing that first jumped out at me was the owl in this picture, which is the eye light in the liquid crystals, which is the third eye chakra. And eye light is all about the relationship stuff. So pretty much everything that I've said in this live stream is all that, and that's what's jumping out at me most about this card for you. And it's like, what's in integrity and what's not, and in the message I'm getting, and this is again what I've been talking about collectively, it's like what addictions have been playing out. Now the other thing that I want to point out about addictions is that addictions are distractions. So you could say addictions are a distraction, right? If you don't like the word addiction or whatever, anything that distracts you from your life purpose, or you know, distracts you from avoiding feeling the truth and the reality of a situation is an addiction. So people drink, people smoke, people, I don't know, keep busy. However you avoid stuff through addiction or anything like that is basically what's going on. So I'm wondering where you need to see the truth of the situation. I'm also getting the message to ask you, what are you hiding? You know, not from the world, from yourself. Where are you not being truthful to yourself? What's out of alignment there for yourself, right? Keep touching my throat. So, you know, like, are you speaking your truth, but are you living it? Or are you needing to say something to somebody that's not, I'm getting the message like it's not kind of what you want to say, but you need to say it. Yeah? I'm not sure if that's an ocelot or a jaguar, but the ocelot's coming to mind. I'm just going to get my animal book. So, ocelot. Okay. Channel your nervous energy or tension into artistic expression. Interesting. Keep that important goal you're pursuing to yourself rather than talking about it, as doing so will support its achievement, whereas discussing it will rob the goal of its energy. Be choosy in picking your next creative project. Someone close to you will share something that he or she wants you to keep confidential. So maybe that's the energy I was picking up there around speaking truth or what have you like that. So I would just be checking in with, are you in integrity or alignment or not? And for a collective as a whole, it's very much about what's going on, about, are we seeing the truth? Are we living the truth? Are we able to tap into what's real and what's right for us and share that or not? Are we avoiding? It is very what's going on collectively, but if you're really avoiding it, if you're really resonating with it, there's a resonance within you for a reason, because it's there for clearing and healing. So if you want more clarity into what's personally going on for you, Cass or anyone else listening to this live stream, then I do have the half price tarot readings as a celebration of being online for 1 whole year. So I'll post a link in the comments for that, because there's only a few days left in August to grab that. And it is one of the big daddies. I'll do lots of cards, and I audio record it and email it to you, so you've got that for life and keep listening to it over and over and over. So if you've just joined this live stream, you might want to go and re-watch the live stream. If you are feeling any of these energies that are going on, please give me some love hearts on the like button or the love button, so I know that you're in the flow, even though it might not feel like it. But there's some big stuff shifting through us as we embody more light in this total eclipse portal. So send me a message if you need more help, and thank you very much for joining me. You're very welcome, Cass. Lots of love to you all. Keep it really fucking real. Namaste.